Well, hello everyone out there in the Rapture watching family. I'm just going to make a few remarks here, brief remarks, regarding my latest video on Daniel 9:27 and the covenant with many. Many folks disagreed with this video on the covenant with many, in which I defended the Israel interpretation of the covenant with many and rejected the theory that the upcoming SDG summit in September could well be the covenant with many and therefore could mark the start of the tribulation. Now, I did receive a few emails and social media connections that offered constructive criticism, and for that I'm very thankful. And there were a few that actually offered some objective considerations that they thought might point or steer folks in the other direction, contrary to what I took. And I'm thankful for that too. That's part of any little controversy that's going to be carried on with a good spirit. But the vast majority of the emails and social media connections that I received were emotional. Many of them were very emotional, and they leveled charges against me that were a mingling of ad hominem arguments and two significant misunderstandings. Now, I'm going to just, for the most part, ignore the ad hominem arguments, because the facts on this subject and the related subjects set things in clear light for those who are going to approach the subject on the basis of facts and reasons. So I'm just going to focus on presenting facts and presenting strong objective arguments. But I do want to clear up the two misunderstandings that raise their heads in many of these emails and social media communications. The first is the purpose for my video, and the second is my views on imminency. Now, if people are going to disagree with me, that's okay, but let the disagreement be entirely on the ground of exegesis, what saith the scriptures, and on the ground of facts like grammatical facts and historical facts. And let the argument be on my real character flaws. But don't let any of this disagreement involve imagined sins on my part that simply don't exist. That's not conducive to a profitable conversation. It's not conducive to iron sharpening iron. Now, let's look at these two misunderstandings. The first one is that I've been accused of attacking a friend. And folks, this is completely untrue. First of all, my video was essentially complete when my friend's video was released. I wouldn't have even known that he had made a video on the subject, except that two different friends gave me a heads up and encouraged me to watch his video before I did my own video, and I agreed. It was merely a coincidence that my video came out the day after his. Now, I did end up using a couple of my friend's bullet point lists and his peanut illustration because they brilliantly and succinctly summed up the non-Israel view of Daniel 9:27 and the covenant with many. But the fact is, over 90% of my outline was comprised of material from other teachers. Had nothing to do with my friend's YouTube video, except the fact there's a whole bunch of people teaching the same things. Now, secondly, I want to point out in regard to this point that responding in the public forum to a position that's been expressed in the public forum isn't intrinsically attacking anybody. And there is no biblical obligation, folks, to respond privately to a position that was stated publicly. A public statement of a position is fair game for a public opposition to the position. Now, if you are painting this situation as a personal squabble, then you are misrepresenting the situation. This is just another doctrinal debate within the camp of dispensationalism that boils down to, in my estimation, to methodology. That is how we are going to interpret and apply Scripture. And this isn't a particularly small point either. How we interpret and apply Scripture is actually a very significant point. Now, the second misunderstanding that I want to deal with is that I was accused by many folks of denying imminency and saying that there's a 0% chance of the rapture happening this summer. And folks, this is 100% incorrect. I plainly stated in the video that the rapture could happen this summer, and this, folks, is not a mere empty assertion on my part. I have clearly taught on many occasions that we are in the rapture window, and that the stage setting of generic prophetic convergence is so far along that the rapture could literally happen any moment. It could happen this year, could happen this summer, could happen this month, could happen this week, could happen this day. It could happen while I'm busy filming this video. Now, what men need to understand, if they're going to understand what I was saying in the video, is that the imminence of the rapture and the theory that the SDG summit might be the start of the tribulation are two very different matters. There's zero correlation between them, folks. The one doesn't imply the other, and the one doesn't necessitate the other. So my saying that there's 0% chance that the SDG summit this fall could mark the start of the tribulation because it could be the covenant with many poses zero threat to the imminent rapture, poses zero challenge to the imminent rapture. So the point of what I'm trying to say with all this is, folks, if the rapture happens this summer, and it could, it will have nothing to do with the SDG summit, except that the summit is merely one out of 10,000 pieces of prophetic convergence. If the rapture happens this summer, it's going to have absolutely nothing to do with the theory that the SDG summit could mark the start of the tribulation. If the rapture happens this summer, it is not going to have anything to do with any of the currently popular rapture dating theories. It's going to have 100% to do, however, with the fact that the Lord has set a definite date, and that definite date cannot be separated from generic prophetic convergence. The farther along we go in prophetic convergence, the deeper we go into prophetic convergence, the louder the alarms for the nearness of the rapture are ringing. Now, if you want to believe that my opposition to the rapture dating theories is heavy-handed, or that it's given in a mean spirit, or that it's just plain wrong, well, that's where we'll just have to disagree. We see things very differently. But don't take up the lame accusation, folks, that I don't believe in the imminency of the rapture and that I don't believe that the rapture could happen this summer. Very different things. At any rate, hopefully this message has clarified for you the circumstances under which I made that video and what my understanding of imminency is. So keep looking up, folks. We are definitely going home soon. All the signs in prophetic convergence are sounding red alert. It's a triple fire alarm. The rapture could indeed happen this summer, this month, this day. But as always, I'm going to temper my thoughts. I'm going to balance my comments, folks. As I often say, there's a ton of material in the Bible and a ton of material in current events that demands that we go up soon. But there is nothing in the Bible, and there's nothing in the current events that we see that demands that we go up this summer, or even puts the odds, the vast majority of the odds, that we're going to go up this summer, and just a tiny little odds we're going to go up later. There's nothing in the Bible and nothing in current events that forbids us from going up 1 or 2 years down the road. At any rate, folks, eyes wide open, brain engaged, heart on fire, and I'll see you next time.